holiday season and welcome to episode 4 of the Employee to Boss podcast. I am so excited that you made it back for a 4th episode because this one is amazing. This one will really help you grow your business, and it's definitely something to think about going into the new year, what your goals are, because now is the time to decide on those goals so you can create a strategy to achieve them. I just went live in my Facebook group, Espresso Growth, for podcasters, entrepreneurs, and industry leaders about this topic, and goal setting is just so important. And that is why I'm so excited to welcome Ashleigh Chanel, the founder of Make Your Mark Consulting, to this episode. Ashleigh is your friendly virtual neighborhood marketing genie here to make all of your marketing dreams come true. She helps business owners market profitably through innovation, creativity, action, and implementing strategic digital media strategies that can transform your business. This episode is so great because we talk about generating leads with Facebook ads and also with lead magnets, which are those free offers that a lot of us entrepreneurs bring in clients through. If you don't have a freebie or a lead magnet, definitely listen to this episode because she gives you some ideas of what you can create, what works, what doesn't work, because 2022, we want to be successful. So now is the time to set up these funnels to get us there. We also talk a lot about making time for travel. Ashleigh travels so much. She actually got her MBA from St. John's University, where she studied on the Rome campus. She has been to so many different countries and is just really inspirational because she hits those 10K months. She makes that money. She shows up for her clients and still travels. We also dive into a little bit about who should get an MBA, if an MBA is right for you. And I think this is hilarious because as a Taurus, I deeply relate to this. She got her MBA to support her expensive tastes and habits because she knew going into marketing without an MBA, she would not be paid what she was worth. So she took that extra step, got her MBA, and had an amazing career in marketing before she left to go start her own business. And so let's get right into this episode because Ashleigh is honestly one of my favorite people. I met her a while ago, actually, through a marketing connection call, and we've just been talking ever since. So I'm so excited to welcome Ashleigh to this podcast. Ashleigh, tell us about yourself. When I first thinking about starting a podcast, 100%, you were the first person in my mind. I was like, Ashleigh knows exactly what she's doing. She helps women all the time. Like, she needs to be on this show because she just gives so much confidence and just is just like such a light in this industry. So please introduce yourself, tell us what you do and how you got started.
First of all, thank you so much. Oh my gosh. Okay. That makes me feel really good because, and I'm going to introduce myself, but it makes me feel good because right now, like starting a business is so convoluted. There's so many things you could be doing, and like there's so much coming at you from every single angle, right? From the friendship, the family, from the people online, and like you're comparing, there's so much going on, right? And to be a light is something that I strive to be and that I even pray about because it's so important, just because you don't know what you don't know. And if I can be there for someone and help them with the foundational stuff, but also helping them to make money and make it a little bit easier, if not a lot easier, to build their business, and that's what I'm here for. But my name is Ashleigh Chanel. I am the marketing genie here to make all of your marketing dreams come true. I've been in marketing for over 11 and a half years. I got my undergrad degrees in marketing and entrepreneurship. It was the #1 entrepreneurship program in the country. And I am a textbook overachiever, so I'm just gonna like throw out the highlights. But I double minored in sales and global business because marketing is one of those things that, you know, it doesn't get a lot of respect, but it's one of the most important facets of your business. And I've worked for, multi-billion-dollar companies. I've done marketing consulting for them, management consulting for them. And I've worked between, solopreneurs and, enterprises. And then I got my MBA while I was living in Italy. One of the best times of my life. Oh my gosh, I've been to 35 countries and still counting. But my MBA, I had two focuses, which was global marketing and global finance. So not only do I understand how marketing affects your business, but I understand how marketing affects, your financials. I understand how marketing affects your supply chain. I understand how marketing affects accounting and things like that, and how all those pieces work together. So it's not just marketing working with the whole of your business, but the pieces of your business.
Absolutely. Ashleigh, you're so cool. Like traveling is one of my number one passions. And I was able to study abroad in college, but then after college, I haven't really been able to as much. Well, first of all, because of COVID, I
Yeah.
graduated in 2019, but
Mhm.
also just like, how do you make time to still do the things that you love while you're working? Like, you have so many clients, right? You do so many different things. So how do you make time to travel and do all these things that you love? Because when people are leaving their 9 to 5, I feel like one of the things is like, yes, as entrepreneurs, we can give ourselves time off whenever,
Yeah, that's true.
but we have to still do our work. And if we don't do our work, no one does it, right?
Mhm.
And so one of the benefits of corporate is you do get that designated time off. It may just be 1 week, but at least you get that
Yeah.
like time off. So how do you balance that?
Well, with 9 to 5, it's like it's on somebody else's dime. But so for me, I realized that I wanted my life to be aligned with how I thought my life should be lived. And living in Italy, I will tell you, they live for life, love, and family. And when I was there, I saw that, oh my gosh, I saw that I had options, right? I saw that I could live abroad. And because I was in getting my MBA, but I actually still had some clients. So I was doing client work and living in Italy. They didn't know I was in Italy. They thought I was still in Houston, but I wasn't. And I saw that I had options. I saw that I could live my life out of the country in one of the most beautiful places that I've ever been. Still, I've been to 35 countries and I still think Italy is like the most amazing place. But I saw that I could do that. So how do I still travel and run a business? So one of the things I will say is that being an entrepreneur off the bat, when you are not working in a 9 to 5, it gives you location independence, period.
Mhm.
So you technically, all you have to do is make the decision. As difficult as it is, when you start, like one of the things that I decided to do, and I'm on a journey to do, I started this journey a couple years ago, maybe a little bit longer than that, but I was like, I'm going to shed everything that society has put on me that I no longer agree with. And so that was a conscious choice. And I was like, okay, traveling is not frivolous. For me, traveling fills me because I love culture. I love learning about people. I love hearing their stories. And it doesn't have to be, people from the place that you're actually traveling to. It could just be people's stories in general. So me being able to do that and just be in beautiful places, it fills my soul and I can serve better. And so I think that how was I able to travel? I made the decision to make time for something that absolutely filled my soul. So I'm not saying, because like I've been to, I went to Spain for a month and I was working while I was there, but I was
Mhm.
also not working while I was there.
Right.
I went to Mexico. I went to Mexico for a month. Um, I went to Mexico City. I went to Playa del Carmen, and Mexico City is it's like my number 2 favorite city in the world. Um, if it had water running through it, it'd probably be my number one. But um, I think that being there for a month and I was working, but I was like, one of the things, like I did some stories, some Instagram stories while I was there. And I was like, the fluffy clouds, like they brought almost tears to my eyes because they were just so beautiful. The water was gorgeous. And it was just like glitter, over the water in the sun. And I was just like, I can't really believe that I'm able to be here. And it just reminded me of the options that I have.
Mhm.
As an entrepreneur, you become an entrepreneur to lead the life that you want to live, right?
Right.
So you have to put things in place that are going to help you get there. And do the things that are going to fulfill you. So whether it's traveling, whether it is, buying all the bath bombs that you want, whether it is, being able to retire a spouse or retire yourself by a certain age, you have to make sure that all of your actions are aligned with that goal. And I think the how is that I have a vision and I know exactly where I want to go and exactly where I want to be. So I have to do the things that are aligned with that vision. Long-winded, but there you go.
No, I love that. I love that so much. So yeah, it really sounds like you just decided that that's the life that you wanted to live. And then you did everything in your power to make that happen.
Yeah.
And yeah, it sounds scary, but if everyone realized that, imagine how much happier people would be.
Oh my gosh. But I mean, it's a lot of it is, America. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I haven't lived in Canada. I don't know what Canada's like, but just America, when I go to other countries, it's not like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like people really do live for life and for family, and just they're kind of like, I mean, the Latin countries have siestas, and so do some of the Southern European countries. They have siestas. Like they know what's important. Like parents get paternity leave, like the men, and the women get maternity leave for like a year. So it can go up to a year or longer. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think when you get, that's why I think travel is so important. When you leave, you can see what really is important. And like, I found what was important to me.
I love that so much. So it sounds like from an early age, like even with your undergrad, you knew what you wanted to do. Just doing like so many different things in marketing, sales, e-commerce. Like, how did you decide that's what you wanted to do? And what are the steps that you took to, get through school, get clients? Because you used to work a 9-to-5, correct?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. So tell us about that. Like, how did you get there to where you are now?
Let's see. Okay, so my mom's in HR and she's been in HR as long as I've been alive. And she, I did one of those career tests or whatever, assessments.
I did so many of those.
Yeah. And we figured out that marketing would probably be a great place for me to be. Like when I was younger, like 8, like I wanted to be, I think, a marine biologist or something. And I think I wanted to be an archaeologist at some point. And like, because I do enjoy stuff like that. But now I realize I would rather just learn about it from afar, not just like be all up in it.
Right. Yeah.
But from learning that I wanted to do marketing, I think even in high school, I did some like marketing clubs, and in college, one of the things my mom always was telling me was that sales and marketing always butted heads in corporate, because one of them spends money and one of them marketing and one of them makes money.
Right.
And so I think one of the things that I wanted to learn was how to effectively go into corporate. And this was in college, how to effectively go into corporate and work well with the sales team, which is what I was able to do because I was able to successfully, with the help of the sales team, garner $33 million in one quarter, right?
Wow.
And there are many reasons we were able to do that, but a lot of it was knowing my audience, and we'll get into that, but also being able to work and understand how business works in general. So I think in college, I did internships early. And even though I didn't think much of the internships, when I went to get hired other places, they thought that was experience. And I was like, oh, okay, well, cool. No big deal. Awesome.
Right.
So I had experience going in, but I also took advantage of all the things I possibly could in college. I not only did internships, but I asked my teachers questions about their careers. I got, what are they called? Reference letters and stuff from my teachers.
Yeah.
Oh, and I started working full time while I want to say junior year in marketing. Cause I'm an overachiever. It's ridiculous. Like I was just doing too much. Right. But I wanted to make sure that I could garner the amount of salary that I wanted, because honestly, in marketing, like I said, no respect. So when I first started, they were offering, I think, $28,000 to $34,000 a year. And I was like, ooh, I have expensive habits and taste. I can't do anything with this. So I knew that I needed to get my MBA in marketing specifically. I don't recommend getting an MBA for everyone, But for marketing, it was so important if I wanted to make more money. Like I was
Yeah.
not about to spend 30 years trying to get $60,000. It just did not go with my personality. Okay. But, but in college, yeah, I did internships. I worked, and then I worked in a nonprofit because I wanted to know, like, because I wanted to start a nonprofit and I wanted to know what it was like, and what struggles they had. And
Right.
then, yeah, I mean, and then once I got to corporate, one of the things that no matter, I think, what you do in corporate America, they always want you to stay on one track. But my mind as an entrepreneur, as a visionary, just in general, I can't stay on one track. I'm like, okay, I'm bored. Can you please give me something else to do? And so I would ask for more things. I would ask to be involved in certain things because I wanted to know and I wanted to, get more skills and make myself more valuable
Mm-hmm.
so that when and my mom was in HR, and so I knew about layoffs. So I would never went into corporate America letting that be my identity. So I think that was also something else that was really helpful for me, is that a lot of people make their job and what they do their identity. But I'm so much more than a marketer, and I was so much more than a marketing manager or marketing director when I was in corporate. I offered so much more to the world. So I think that's another thing, is that I didn't allow my job to be my identity.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big point. I love that. So, who is an MBA for? I know you just said it's not for everyone. And I know you've told me a little bit because I was going back and forth trying to decide if I personally wanted to go get my MBA.
Mm-hmm.
But tell us who an MBA is for in your experience.
I believe an MBA is for those who want to ascend in corporate and in thought leadership,
Okay.
because I think titles make people respect, regardless of how we feel about them. We all know people who have PhDs or MBAs who are stupid and awful people.
Yep.
But unfortunately, the majority of people, they attribute titles to prestige. So I believe that if you want to ascend in social spaces, not like the housewives kind of social spaces, but like if you want to ascend in social spaces and thought leadership spaces, as well as in your corporate career, I believe that you having those titles behind your name help. Also, if you're in your 9 to 5 and you feel like there is a cap, a ceiling that you cannot get past without having a higher degree and higher education, then I think it might be time for you to get one. My advice would be to see if your company will pay for it,
Yeah.
because MBAs
Yeah.
are expensive.
I was looking, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I saw this one article and it was saying it's not worth it to get an MBA unless you go to a top 10 school. How do you feel about that? Because I
Oh, I
feel like
definitely don't
a
agree
lot of
with
people
that.
put pressure.
I don't agree with that at all. I think it depends on what you want to do. Okay, so I don't agree with that at all. That's silly. I don't think that doesn't make any sense to me, because my MBA, so one of the things I was extremely, and I think I told you this before, I was extremely picky about my MBA program. My MBA program needed to have a global experience. It needed to have a section where I left the country. I didn't have to stay there the whole time, but I needed to go there for at least 6 months. It needed to have a program where I had to learn a language. And I forgot what my other criteria was, but that narrowed my school down. And I was looking at very prestigious schools, and the only other one that met my criteria, that's a college that people know about, was Booth School of Business in
Okay.
Chicago. So they had some programs, but I ended up going to St. John's University, and they had a program where I could go to Italy for 2 years. and I didn't have to learn the language, but because I was in another country and didn't speak the language, I was like,
Yeah.
I took an intensive 3-month course, and I
Okay.
learned I'm not fluent by any means, but I definitely was able to get around much easier, and the Italians seemed to respect me a little bit more. But anyway.
I love that. That makes sense because when I was scrolling through all these articles and I read that one, I was like, that doesn't even make sense to me. Like, there's so many
Yeah,
schools out there. Each one has something else to offer. So
right.
good insight.
I mean,
Thank
I
you.
just think that maybe like somebody from a top 10 wrote that, or I mean, I think it depends. Like, you also want to look into their alumni program. Like, had I maybe thought about the alumni program a little bit more, I may have chosen a different school. However, I mean, the alumni program is very important, I think, at any school, but
Mhm.
you also have to work the alumni program. Like, you have to go out and meet people, build relationships and things like that. But you can build relationships with anybody. Like, that's how I was able to do management consulting through my school. Like, most people who gets like I did it with Grant Thornton, and they are a top 6 accounting firm after
Wow.
EY and the Big Four. And so, like, who else would be able to do that
Right.
unless you built relationships, right? And so, even my entrepreneurship program had access. We were able to go to the Berkshire Hathaway stockholders meeting because the person who created the Wolf Center of Entrepreneurship was friends with Warren Buffett, or is friends with, you know what I mean? So it's like,
Right. All
and our,
networking.
yeah, and our class was able to go meet him, have dinner, like, you know what I mean? So
That's incredible.
it's like being able to utilize the relationships, because opportunities come from people. They come from building relationships. They don't come from just you having an education, just because you have an MBA or just because you have a PhD.
Networking is like the only way businesses really succeed. Well, I guess not the only way, but a big way. So, one of the ways that you really excel in your industry and the way that you help your clients is getting them to know their audience and connect with their audience. So, customer experience is big for you. Tell us about how we can, because people are always like worried about connecting with their ideal audience. They don't really know how, or they may be nervous just to like reach out. So how do you recommend people connect with their ideal audience from the get-go?
From the get-go, I would say think about, number one, who is it that you actually want to serve? Not necessarily who you think you can reach, but who is it that you want to serve? And then you talk to people who are just like that. You talk to people who, like, they may seem out of your reach, but people are a lot nicer than I think we give people credit for.
Yeah.
And people like to talk about themselves. So if you are just asking them questions about their purchasing habits, or about how they feel on a certain subject that is related to your business. Like, for me, I asked people about, well, like today, I did a live on Facebook about setting up your systems properly. Like, we want to live the grandiose life, but our systems aren't set up for us to live that life yet. And I was asking a girl who was attending, and I was like, okay, because she was like at the beginning level, right? And I was like, well, where do you feel like you're struggling? Where do you feel like what's difficult for you? Where do you feel lost? Where do you feel confused? It's just having a conversation, right? And it's caring. I think the thing that a lot of people are missing, and what the internet has done most of us a disservice on, is making it seem like we can get all this stuff done overnight or very, very quickly. Like, yes, the internet has allowed a lot of us to, make money quickly online within a year, within 6 months. Like, your life can change, absolutely. But there is groundwork that needs to be done prior to that. I, didn't hit a 10K month. I blew past the 10K month the first time I ever got to $10,000 in 1 month. But there was some groundwork that happened that had to happen before then for me to even get there, for me to understand who my audience is and what they needed. So you just having a conversation with who your audience is, what they need, what they're expecting, what do they value from you. I know my audience, they value people who aren't spitting all the one size fits all marketing. They value people who aren't telling them that they can get it done overnight, because my audience isn't stupid and they know that they can't get this done overnight, and they don't want somebody selling them a dream. They don't
Yeah.
appreciate that, period. They don't like that at all. And they value transparency. So, and they value connection and just really liking the person that they're working with, and somebody who's invested in their business. And I know that because I've talked to them. I've asked them questions. I've actually gotten on the phone on a Zoom call. We've been being able to see each other's faces. So that's something that's been really beneficial for me because I can speak directly to my audience in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, that's actually how we connected. You posted something on Facebook and then I responded to it. You were doing market research.
Yep.
And I responded and now look at us.
I
So
know,
connections are
exactly.
made so easily just through that, like putting yourself out there. Being a solopreneur, I get so bored during the day. I just want to get on like Zoom calls with everyone. So one of the things I'm offering now is just like coffee connect calls
Mhm.
in my Facebook group. And so just connecting with my Facebook group members, getting to know them, not even selling to them, just like getting to know them.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's how connections are made. So I love that. That's one of like your main business strategies.
That's cool. I like that. I started doing I think landing page audits because I was like, no, was it landing page? No, it was lead magnet audits. And then another thing was and I was doing those for free. And
Mhm.
then just to like get to know what my email list, like what kind of businesses they're in. And
Yeah.
also co-working sessions. Like I'm not selling anything. We're just working together, holding space for us to get stuff done. So I definitely understand that the connection is so important.
Yeah. I offer like podcast audits to anyone in different Facebook groups. I always like advertise that. It's a free service I offer, and it doesn't always like I just love helping people. Okay, that's
Mhm.
just what I love doing. And so even if it doesn't end in a sale or if it doesn't end in anything, it's still a
Yeah.
connection. I learn more about their struggles. They see how where they're like missing what part of their business is missing. So
Mhm. And
I
then
think
like
it's
they
a
can
lot of
always
fun.
come back though. I think people think that if you miss out on it right now, that means that you're never going to get it back. But I have had plenty of people come back to me after a year, after 6 months. So I mean, it's I think it's so beneficial to build the connection because people will start to mention your name in rooms that you're not even in when you build relationships. And even if they haven't worked with you, just because you're a great person, right?
Mhm. Just because you put yourself out there and not a lot of people do. So they're just impressed that, oh, this person reached out to me. That's incredible. Like they stand out from all the other marketers or all the other podcast producers, whatever industry you're in. Just reaching out and wanting to connect will make you stand out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is so exciting that the first time you hit 10K, you blew past it. So what did you do to get there? It's probably a lot of work, but tell us like what did you do to get to that point?
First and foremost, I knew my audience at that point. I knew them inside and out, back and forth, up and down. I knew what they were struggling with and how hard and how it was affecting them, how it was even affecting their sex life. No joke. And I will say what I mean by that is sitting up all night working on your computer interferes with the intimacy in your relationships. It doesn't allow you to be present and things like that. So that was one of the things. I knew who my audience was. I set up my systems. I was easy to be found, not necessarily on Google search, but on Instagram, where my audience actually takes action. That's another thing. I knew where my audience took action.
Yeah.
Um, these are things that you will find out as you build your business. Just because my audience takes action on Instagram does not mean your audience takes action. I don't take action on Instagram. I don't buy things from Instagram shopping. I don't typically, the only time I think I'll take action on Instagram is if I've had a connection with someone.
Mhm.
And we've actually had conversations prior to me buying something from them. But typically, I take action on Facebook.
Yeah.
Like I take, so like these are things that you'll want to know. Like, does your audience take action on Pinterest? Or do they do they not trust Facebook ads? Do they click on Facebook? So these are things that you'll want to know. And what else? Like setting up a proper sales system, a proper funnel. I mean, they're literally one and the same. A funnel is just a how you get someone from point A to point B U Y. And I knew what to offer my audience because I knew who they were and I knew what they were struggling with. So That's how, and I also have a reputation of doing my job, doing what I'm supposed to do, and realizing, and it's so funny, I realized that the way that I think and the integrity that I have, not all marketers have. And because like I told somebody, yeah, I made my client like $30,000 a month with Facebook ads, and they were like blown away. And I was like, I didn't understand, to be honest. I was like, that's what I'm supposed to do. That is my job. That is what they hired me for.
Right.
So I didn't understand why it was such a big deal until I kept hearing stories. And like most of my clients have come to me after they have been burned by other marketers. And I realized then that's why people were so blown away and people liked what I did, because I had integrity and I cared about their business. And when they invest in me, I invest in their business.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. So a lot of the listeners who are here are in the beginning stages of their business. So what is one of the easiest first funnels that they can create to get their business going?
A lead generation funnel, and you can either collect emails or you can collect phone numbers. And that's one of the ways that you can figure out. And I would actually recommend collecting both so that you know how your audience likes to be interacted with. Like I personally cannot stand people sending me text messages. I don't sign up for text message anything because I don't like people, like, because it feels like people are in my space. But all of my friends prefer text message over email, but I love getting emails. So I would say build a lead magnet. Figure out what lead magnet makes the most sense for your business. You have to base it off of your offer, whatever offer you're selling, because a PDF is not always the best lead magnet for everyone. And I have like a hate relationship when it comes to ebooks. I don't think that they're that helpful. And I think they require too much time to create, and they don't provide the reward that you're looking for. But I would say build a lead generation funnel where you can collect someone's email address, and just be yourself, be authentic, because the connection, especially now after COVID, was really, I think people were really craving connection, and wanting to learn who the person behind the brand is. So I think like when people feel like you're their sister or their cousin or their friend, they're more likely to hype you up and, like I said, talk about you when you're not in the room.
Definitely. So, other than ebooks, what are some great lead generation ideas that you can give the listeners?
A quiz. I love quizzes. I think PDFs are okay for things under like $1,000, maybe under $500. I think that webinars are great. Intro events are great when they're done right. Many of us have been to webinars that suck, where they like 30 minutes of the time is spent of them talking about themselves and telling you, going through their up and down journey or whatever, how they got to where they are. And it's like, enough. Like, people don't care about you until they know you can help them. Unfortunately, that's kind of how it goes. And then case studies. If you're a service-based business and you are priced a little bit higher, people need to know that you know what the heck you're talking about. So having a case study that shows how you were able to help someone get to the goal that they want to get to is going to be beneficial. So one of mine, I'm actually building a case study now. I'm in the middle of it, and it's how we got to $30,000 a month with e-commerce. And so like, I'm making sure I'm saying e-commerce because that's who I'm targeting. Though I do build, I do Facebook ads for other types of businesses, local service and service-based businesses, but this is specifically for e-commerce because I didn't want to mislead anybody in making them think that, we got this off of a webinar. No, that's not what this was. This was e-commerce. So that's going to show my expertise, how I did it, and getting me into my application, because I also don't work with everyone. So I'm going to have to figure out how can I automatically qualify someone. And It's through an application. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So before we get into the 3 tips you have in the action step, who do you work with? So if someone's listening to this episode and they're like, Ashleigh is amazing, I want to get to know her, I need to like work with her. Who do you work with and how can they reach out to you?
Okay, awesome. Okay, so I actually have now my audience is a little bit more broad, but I do work across service-based businesses, local service, as well as e-commerce. And if you are in that niche, I do work with you across the board. So I've got a 90-minute marketing makeover. And what that is me working with business owners who just don't know the next step. They don't know what to do, and they just need somebody to, kind of line it out. So if you're kind of like in the situation where you're just like, oh, I don't really know what to do. I'm starting a launch or I'm starting something and I don't really know what the next steps are. I've been working in my business for a little bit. And I don't really know what to do. I've got 90 minutes for you. And then I've got, unlimited laser coaching for those who need somebody to really just hold their hand and care about them and care about their business and, one-on-one, because I've realized that a lot of programs are missing the caring portion and the one-on-one portion where people are actually looking at their business. Because just because you're a coach and other people are coaches doesn't mean that you're going to be doing the same thing. It doesn't mean that your lead magnet should be the same because your audiences are different. Your messaging is different. So I'm there to help walk people through, the process of building, their marketing, their foundation, as well as their automation, like when they're like ready to scale. So I work with business owners who already know what they want to do. Okay. So that could be coaches, it could be course creators, it could be service-based businesses. And then I also work with business owners who are ready to scale their business. And then I've got my marketing agency where I do done for you services like email marketing, content marketing, and ads, Google ads, YouTube ads, things like that.
Awesome. So you really cover it all. And
Yeah,
sounds like
I
you
do.
help like a lot of people through that. But still, it is very niche, like who your help, like exactly who you help.
Mm.
But I love that. That's awesome. Okay, so how can people contact you?
Oh yeah, okay. You can find me at Ashleigh Chanel on Instagram, ASHLEIGHGHCHANEL, and that is the girl spelling of Ashley, in case anyone did not know that. And my email address, theoffice@makeyourmarkconsulting.com. And The Office is paying homage to The Office, the show, because like I was like really obsessed with it for a long time. I hated it when it first came out, but then like I started watching it with my guy, and we just were obsessed. And like everything that came out of our mouths was The Office.
That is so funny. I love that. Yeah, and we spell our names very similar.
Yes,
so
we do.
I think one of the first things you told me, you were like, "Girl, I get it." Like the spelling.
Yes, because people like to misspell our names all the time. Oh, pro tip, life tip, courtesy tip, everyone spell people's name properly. It's so rude, especially when you're in email, especially on Instagram. If they have their name there, just spell their name properly.
Yeah.
Don't blame it on autocorrect. Because like I get that all the time. People are like, oh, my phone autocorrected. Fix it.
Yeah.
Because I just think it's like your name is like the one thing that you have. And I think it's so rude when people, like I had to deal with that in corporate and I corrected people. As uncomfortable as it was, I corrected people because it was important. Yeah. Because I mean, it's your name and it's rude to like not spell people's names properly.
It always irritated me when I was an intern and people would spell my name any other way than how it's actually spelled. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I can call you out yet because I'm just an intern, but yeah. It's annoying. It's annoying. I get it. Awesome. So it was so great having you on today. I would love if you could share with the audience how you got to where you are in 3 steps. So someone who wants to be a marketing expert, someone who wants to get to know their audience, someone who basically wants to be you and get to where you are. Tell us how you got there so they can follow those same or similar steps.
Okay. So out of corporate, I did stay in corporate while I had my business. Initially, I saved my money. That's one of the things that I think is really important. Use your 9 to 5 to fund your business, to fund your coach. So I would say number 1 is save your money. Number 2 is get a coach or a strategist. Somebody who can really help you get started and who knows what they're talking about. And I know that there are a ton of coaches out there, and I get it, but it does not make sense to struggle when you don't have to. They're like, the hustle is for the birds. I don't think people should have to hustle. I think you should work strategically and continue to move forward. But doing it by yourself, there are no brownie points. There is no trophy. Like that rags to riches story, nobody cares. Like, that's the story that's the theme of stories that people like to tell, is the rags to riches. But I don't have a rags to riches story. I saved $60,000 when before I quit my job, or I took a voluntary layoff because I was not on the layoff list. My boss was leaving. She asked if I wanted to leave. I prayed about it. I felt peace. And I was like, okay, go ahead and put me on the list. And then after that, I contracted, so that I contracted with companies that I could get the education and the experience that I wanted, that would put me higher up in the eyes of the clients that I wanted to work with. So experience was extremely important to me. Getting the experience and being able to tell a company, yeah, I've been able to get my client $130,000 a month on a regular through Google Ads. Like, that was something that was important to me to be able to say. So that I had that piece. So I would say get as much experience as you possibly can doing other things. If you want to discount your services at the beginning, I think that's perfectly fine. I don't completely agree with working for free, but I don't think it's always the worst thing that you could possibly do. I would say small things if you ever wanted to work for free, but not like full blown major projects. And then I would say take action, like, and show up. People really want to know who you are. They really want to be connected to you, and they want to be associated with somebody that has the same values that they have. So you have to tell people what your values are. You have to tell people what you care about and why you care. Like, for me, my purpose is to erect a generation of women who unapologetically step into their power. And I do that by giving them the options through their business, through them being like, through setting up automation for business, like sales and marketing automation for their business, so that they can lead the life that they want to lead. Like, I just got off of a coaching call with one of my clients, and she was like, I feel a little, down, or not down, but it was like, she feels like she's being unmotivated. But it's not really. It's just that she's ready to live the life that she wants to live already. She's already been working in her business a lot. And now we're setting up the systems, the stuff that's not fun, the sales systems, the marketing systems, and it's not fun. But I'm like, this is what we're doing now. We set it up now so you don't have to set it up later. So those would be my 3 things. Save your money and invest in the stock market if you know how. Get access to a coach or a strategist, and show up. You have to show up. If people don't know who you are, they can't buy from you. So you have to tell people what you do. Every day, tell somebody what you do and be unapologetic about it. All of these people, like, look at all of the advertisements that you get from these large companies. They do not care whether they are getting on your nerves. They don't care at all. They are not concerned with your feelings. They're concerned with their pockets. And there's nothing wrong with wanting money, and so money is going to allow you to live the lifestyle that you want to lead. So I think it's extremely important for the days that you want to make sales, or the days that you should tell people what you do.
Thank you for listening to the Employee to Boss podcast. If you made it to the end of this episode, I hope that you implement the actionable steps from this week's experts so you can get started with your business today. Please rate, review, and subscribe to the Employee to Boss podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. It helps more than you could ever imagine. Remember, a little progress each day leads to big results. We come out with a new episode every Tuesday. To access our show notes, transcripts, and courses, please check out espressopodcastproduction.com.